Hey guys, welcome to Bespoke and Bougie Reviews. I'm Winston, and today I wanted to talk about strongman logs, and namely the difference in a steel or metal cast iron form of strongman log and a wood strongman log, like a true log. Now, I always want to give credit to those who have done videos before me, and while I could not really find a video of someone doing a comparison like this, which is kind of the whole reason I wanted to do it, the Kurt Locker has a great video on how to build your own wood strongman log. So I'm going to put that in the description. I think it is a great video. And if you do decide to go the true wood log route, that's probably the route I would go, and I will tell you why kind of over the course of this video. But first I want to talk about why I think maybe the videos on strongman logs are lacking, and the utility of using a strongman log in your training, even if you aren't a strongman athlete or your training is not really tailored to strongman styles of lifting. So I will tell you a little bit about my background. I was a wrestler in high school, I wrestled in college, and I really enjoyed kind of just strength movements in general. I got into powerlifting kind of late into high school and then heavily into college. And then I sort of found ways to help the powerlifting side by doing a few strongman activities, because I do not primarily train strongman myself. I primarily train in a more powerlifting style, like a bench squat, deadlift, overhead press, and then just some fun little accessories, tricep extensions, some of those bodybuilding stuff that really all aids towards the powerlifting lifts. Because again, my main goal is to get my bench, squat, and deadlift as high as I can. That's my primary goal. Any lift you see me do is to increase those primary lifts. So what I do for strongman is going to be sandbags, picking up sandbags, and that's more for lower back health, just being able to kind of get into that awkward position to pick up sandbags. And I'll actually be doing reviews on this, on what sandbags I think are the best in a later video. But the other strongman style of training I do is log lifts. I love lifting logs because I feel as though there's no maybe transfer to overall upper body strength than a true log press, and that is picking it up from the ground, or as I have it here, crash pads up into an overhead press. I think that is the best signifier of upper body strength, more than bench press, more than overhead press, because you're sort of clean. It's different than a clean. You're not really like hopping up here. You're kind of dragging it with your arms the entire time into an overhead press, and so that's why I think the strongman log is a great carryover to any kind of upper body movement, and it can even assist in things, like I think if you get better at strongman log lifts, you'll get better at deadlifts, rows, obviously bench press and overhead press. I think your squat will become, but you'll get more solid in kind of that mid back area for those lifts as well, and of course your arms for the pressing movement, arms and chest I should say, for the pressing movement. So again, if the deadlift is the ultimate kind of lower body exercise that works everything, I would say the strongman log is the reverse of that, and that's why I recommend, even if you're not a strongman lifter, you try out a strongman log. Now, that was just kind of my big introduction of why I think the strongman log is good. Now I want to talk about which way to go, because I know there's a lot of companies that put out strongman logs for, I guess you could say, like a lower price. Like Titan has a log, Mike Bartos has a log. It's a company, this Strongman sports partner company, I think it's called like Renegade. They have a strongman log. It's important to notate those are all steel strongman logs. And to be fair, when it comes to steel strongman logs, I know Titan typically has a more of a negative connotation with lower quality equipment, and I think that is warranted, and I think that is true 100% of the time. But when you're kind of coming to like a big hunk of metal you're picking up and putting down, it's probably fine to go that route. I will tell you, I got a custom metal strongman log, again, bespoke and bougie. I got hooked up with a friend who makes them up in Portland, Oregon. This is what is called a 12-inch log, meaning the sleeves on it are 12 inches, as to make it easier to load up with weight. But I feel like, especially in the beginning, most folks will not be loading a strongman log up with weight because, they tend to vary in terms of what their weight are. Like I think Titan starts at like 130 or 150. Mike Bartos has a variety of logs that start a different weight, but they're all typically going to be above 150 pounds starting. And even if you can overhead press, easily 150 pounds or 190 or 200, it's going to be significantly different doing it with a strongman log. My best overhead press is 235. This strongman log right here, this particular metal one, is about 200 pounds, 198 to 202, somewhere in that realm, so I just call it 200. And it is immensely difficult for me to do. And actually, I couldn't do it in my first couple tries. I had to get my form down because just my raw strength was not enough to get it from, waist to chest to overhead. So even though it's less than my max overhead press, it took me several tries before I was able to get it overhead. And I think, again, that just kind of goes back to what I was saying of the benefit of using a strongman log. Now, in my personal opinion, and this is kind of the big crux of the video, what I want to get across, you can get a kind of a custom strongman log like this. The thing with this log that I like is it's bare steel, not clear coated like I normally do with things. And the reason being, I do believe with clear coat on a metal log, part of the lift of the log, and why you see like a lot of strong men with strongman athletes with kind of bigger bellies, is that's a pretty big advantage to popping it on your stomach, rolling it up your body, and shooting it up. Like I use that with my man. Now, not to say I don't have a big belly, I do, but I use the belt for that too. I rest the belt. I rest it on my belt and belly for leverage, and that kind of roll it up. If it was clear coated, I think that would make it way too slick, and I think that's why you see on a lot of logs they have like a rough textured black powder coat typically. So if you go the metal log route, I would go bare steel like this or that black textured powder coat for that reason, because any kind of gloss coat on a log is going to be slippery and it's going to make the lift harder in a way that I don't think is beneficial. I don't think having that gloss is like, oh, I made it harder, so that's good. I think it could slip and possibly hurt yourself. So I don't think you should go on a gloss coat on a log like this. I would go bare steel or, again, that rough black powder coat. And I would go metal log as well because, and again, I would, like I'm always going to do, I always recommend custom. Again, I got this from a person called Ellis Metalworks in Portland, Oregon. I'm going to tag his Instagram down below. I ordered this before I knew Black Widow training gear. Dean made them. I probably would have got it from him just to support him, but again, I was not aware of that at the time. And you can do sort of custom things, as most logs have kind of smooth handles. I got this stainless steel knurled handle to prevent the rust, because I don't mind the rust on this log, because again, that's just going to add to grip, and I can always wipe it off with oil. Like there's a little bit of rust on it, right, surface rust right now, that doesn't even come off on my hand. If the rust got too much of a problem, I would of course just wipe it off and it wouldn't be a big issue. And you can do some custom things with the handles that, something like Titan or any like kind of big box store is not going to be able to do, but like a smaller manufacturer like a Black Widow training gear, like a Ellis Metalworks, like Mike Bartos, would probably also be willing to do something like knurled handles, as I think, again, I think knurled's always going to be better than smooth in any kind of weightlifting whenever you're picking something up. But again, why I like the metal one is for that level of customization and durability. You can fuck this thing up, pardon my language, but you can throw this thing, slam this thing, even like the Titan version, which I'm sure is using the lowest quality steel they can get away with. I've seen tons of like videos, just like little Instagram reels of people slamming that shit around. You are not going to break or even irreparably damage like a metal. Like the worst thing you could do is if you had it loaded up with plates on either side, if the welds were crappy, you could break off maybe one of the sleeves. That would be sort of your worst case scenario with a metal log. Now with a wooden log, I'm going to throw some B-roll up here in just a second, where I have a Slater metal log, or a Slater wood log, which is, I believe, sort of like the highest quality wood log out there. At least they have the best reputation. They make them for like the CrossFit Games and the Shaw Classic. Like all those metal logs you see that on like a Rogue kind of event or a CrossFit kind of event is going to be made by Slater logs. And I'm going to throw some B-roll up right now so you can kind of see what one of those looks like with very minimal use. Bare steel bolted in, parts right there. The very cool and badass kind of rope design that I'm sure helps for like cushioning. This is what you're going to find when you run into any wood log. You can find cracks. I filled those in. Combination of just Gorilla Glue and just silicone. Probably just could have done the silicone, make it a little prettier. Handles. The handles are the biggest con to me. Now, they are grippy. I don't want to make it seem like they're not grippy. If I can get away with an Earl, I will. Bare steel. They have not rusted too bad at all. And of course, I do clean them as well, but you just see them more. Cracks. Which are, over time could become a problem, but I've been slamming this around. I've had no issue. The Slater log. So as you can see, I have always used that log with crash pads. I have always tried to treat it like that log very carefully. I've lacquered it once a month per Slater's instructions. I have filled in with silicone places where it cracks. And those cracks still tend to increase. So while I think the Slater log is a great log, I think wood logs in general are going to be problematic. Now, that's where I want to talk about the price side of these things. This custom metal log shipped to me from Portland was $1,200. And what was custom about it was, of course, the length, the size, which maybe had a little effect on the price. And then, of course, the stainless steel knurled handles. So that was about $1,200 shipped to your door. That's going to be, by the way, like for a nice quality log, that's going to be about what you pay. Like even if they market it as like $700 or $800, I think that's what Mike Bartos markets his as, like $800, maybe as high as $900. But when shipping gets involved, you're going to be paying around $1,100, $1,200 for a good log anyway. And with the Slater log shipped, it was $1,500. So a little more craftsmanship going into the wood, stuff like that. But I mean, the materials on the Slater log were no higher quality than the materials on this, but the materials on this are far more durable. And the Slater log had problems too. Like it's bare steel on its handles and sleeves. They rust. You have to keep those polished too. It just being wood, a rougher texture, like you don't have to worry about the slipping of everything. But I think wood logs are always going to be inferior to metal logs. Now, are they much prettier? Absolutely. When that Slater logs becomes unusable, I'm going to just keep it in the gym. I'll try to find some way to hang it just because it looks fantastic and cool and badass and all that. But if you don't care, like a $1,500 wall piece is pretty dumb, honestly. So if that's not what you want to do, which I suggest you not doing that, I would definitely go the route of the metal log. Again, Titan is, I'm sure makes, it's fine. I think Rogue makes a metal log. I don't really see that one used a whole lot. Or just going with any kind of custom manufacturer, Ellis Metalworks. If you're local manufacturer or if you have a local fabricator who could do something like this, have them do it. Or then, of course, Dean at Blackwood Training Gear. I'm always a big fan of the stuff that Dean puts out. And I know there's other manufacturers who can do like metal handles. Like I know JD Gym Equip will do steel handles for a log. I know that Mutant Metals, the place that makes the fantastic dip and monolift attachments, they will do a custom handle that you can have welded on if you're using like more of a custom thing like this. So you can definitely get a high quality log, but just know for a really high quality log, you're going to be paying in the realm of probably $1,100 to $1,200 on average. And even for like a Titan, I think after shipping, you're going to be paying in the realm of $600 to $800. So again, logs are just expensive. I think they are very valuable. I think they have a huge carryover to training. I've seen a huge carryover in my training. My bench, I've done nothing really different with my bench. My bench actually stagnated for about 2 years at around 330. And then just doing log training for like 6 weeks took me to 355. And I can't attribute that to anything. My diet wasn't any different. My general training wasn't very different. I've actually been training less lately just because I have 2 children now. So that's just eating to my training time. And just with the log, bench went up 20 pounds. My overhead press went up 20 pounds as well. Actually, it went from 215 to 235, as I was saying earlier. So I do think this has huge, huge carryover, and I would recommend it even if you are not a true strongman athlete. If you're more of a powerlifting athlete, I still feel as though you will get a lot of benefit from this log. And that's it. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video, and I'm going to throw some B-roll here in the end of me using logs so you can kind of see how that movement goes. Not that I'm perfect at it, but just so you can kind of get an idea. But guys, thank y'all so much. I'll see you in the next video.